Hello, hola, ¿cómo está? Hope everyone's doing well. The last live I did, I talked about growing where you are planted, flourishing where you are found, and I just keep getting that over and over and over. And I realize that it obviously is for me. Like right now, even just doing a live, I have to like look around my house as to where I'll get least interrupted. And that's been one of the interesting things in quarantine is I've had my kids in my house, with me at all times. And so it's hard to find those little bits of peace and quiet and moments to yourself. I mean, it really only happens after they've gone in bed, or like I am now, hiding out in my guest room doing this. This is like the brief time I have to myself today. So I'm trying to grow where I am planted and flourish where I am bound. And, sometimes you find yourself hiding from other people. But yesterday I went, to my sister-in-law's house again, and I had been there a couple days in a row, and there was this fascinating, it looked almost like a rainbow shaped arc of mushrooms growing. And I hadn't noticed them. Like they'd been there and I didn't even notice them. And then the next day I suddenly saw them. And then the day after that, they'd even grown a lot bigger. Mushrooms can grow and die like overnight. A fascinating thing. And I was like, why are they, growing in this position? And, I took a whole bunch of pictures of them because I love taking photos. But it just struck me, why did they grow that way? And why in that shape and that formation, and what is it about that's a special place for those mushrooms to grow? And I think we have to ask ourselves, what's special about where we find ourselves right now, and how can we best grow where we are right now? And how can we best foster our kids' growth right now? Because school is going to be really interesting in the next coming days. Sure. Sorry. Getting asked to go somewhere right now. Speaking of my kids. But where was I? I don't know. Trying to grow where you're found. I was thinking back of when I was much, much, much younger. I was in my 20s, and I had moved to LA. And I thought that's what I wanted in life, was to be in this cool city, doing cool things with cool people. And I did. I was doing it. I was doing the thing. But it really wasn't healthy for me. It was not for me. The way I was growing and flourishing was not a good thing. I've mentioned before that I've gone through a lot and done a lot of wild and crazy things in my life. A group of friends I made was, I was drunk at a bar, and my other friends were busy actually trying to talk with somebody to do a business deal. And they were kind of like, hey, go off, do something else. I plopped down at this table with this group of people, and I said, hey, you know what? Jesus is my drug dealer. And they were like, looked at me and they go, do you want to go do some drugs? And I go, exactly. Because literally everywhere I went in LA, people were just constantly like, hey, you want to do this? Hey, you want to go do that? Hey. And it was just, and I was just like, ooh, not a good thing, not a good spot for me, not healthy. That was not where I was meant to grow. I was not growing in the right way. Let's just be very clear. And so what I came to realize after living there for a while was that the most important thing to me in my life was really my family. And that all my lives here where I live now. And that I love my family, I love spending time with them. I love being close to them. I love that my children are growing up with cousins, but it took me, I had to go through that and in that experience for God to give me the gift of actually knowing what was the best thing for me, and that knowing that here, where I am now, where I was born and where I grew up, is actually where I am supposed to grow and flourish. And maybe if I hadn't had that experience in LA, I wouldn't know. I might always have that, like, what am I missing? If only I had, that sense that some people have of not like chasing their dreams or whatever. So for me, it was a great experience to go see that it was not for me, and it was not for my best, and it was not the plan that God had for me. And sometimes people have to go through that to experience it. But there's so much to be said for gratitude, and that wherever you are right now, being thankful for where you are, but also realizing if you're in a toxic place for you, you should get out, and ask God to help, point to where you really should be. So I don't know what scripture verse I originally was going to use, but for some reason, Habakkuk 2, 1, it is, I will stand at my watch and station myself on the ramparts. I will look to see what he will say to me and what answer I am to give to this complaint. So what I liked about that scripture verse is it's basically this person is saying, okay, I'm going to stand here and I'm going to ask God to tell me. I'm going to look to see what he will say to me and what answer I am going to give to this complaint. All right. So if you're complaining right where you are, and it says, I'm going to stand at my watch and station myself on the ramparts. So I just really liked that. I think, that's a great thing for all of us, is to just say, Lord, give us clarity on where you want us to stand, on what you want us to do, on what you want to say to us, on how you want to answer our complaints, Lord. Help us to flourish where we are found and grow where we are planted, and give us your wonderful answers, and give us more of your wonderful answers in your word. In your name we ask and pray. Amen.